Talking like this?
However you want.
Okay.
Both.
Pretend I'm a bot.
And we are live here at the Bitcoin Energy Summit, having a great time. There's a lot of kind of OGs in the space, big guys. Speaking of that, I have here Peter Saddington. He's the general partner and CEO of STAAS Fund.
Yes, right.
And I feel like. So tell me a little bit, Peter, about STAAS Fund and what brought you here to the Bitcoin Energy Summit.
Thank you. Well, STAAS Fund, first and foremost, is a venture fund focused on the Web3 world. And we have one thesis. It's called continuous yield, which bifurcates into two strategies, which is Bitcoin mining, which is why we're here. We're talking about that today, and staking platforms, DeFi, you understand.
Yep.
So that is our world of ensuring that all of our investments, they're always generating yield. That's valuable for us. The reason I'm here is because Carlos invited me. He saw me I spoke at the WebEx conference in Vegas. We were talking about a use case of one of our investments as a fund, and he was like, "Oh man, that was a really good talk. You should come to the first one in Miami that we're doing here, the Bitcoin Energy." And I was like, "Okay, great." So that's why I'm here.
Amazing. Well, they always do a great job. You know, I don't know if you know the history, but of course they're through Mining Disrupt.
Yep.
And then sold that, and so here we are at the first inaugural event. And the same thing, you know. It's, we're going to come, even like last week. Are you guys coming? Yep. Yeah, we're coming. We're going to come and support the event and be there. And it's been great. So pretty interesting background that you have. You ran through some of it. You bought the first Bitcoin,
Yep.
You did that. Maybe you can run that through the viewers. I'm sure would love that stuff.
Sure, real quick. Bought my first Bitcoin in 2011 at $2.52. That was all over the local news, man. I was one of the first in Atlanta to do that. And then in 2017, when Bitcoin hit 5,000, I said, you know what? I have a startup at this point. You know, it's an opportunity to create a marketing play. And everybody on Reddit, it's always like, don't buy a Lambo with Bitcoin. So as someone who's on the spectrum with autism, what do? You buy a Lambo with Bitcoin. And so we did 300 million views worldwide. That helped our company go from essentially an investment of about $1 million to $38 million. And then I got early exit, so early acquisition. So marketing works and Lambos work. And so just 9 months ago, we were talking about this earlier, we purchased the world's first AMG GTS Mercedes with Bitcoin mining rewards that was announced on Bloomberg. So really excited about that. So we love buying exotic cars with Bitcoin.
Fun stuff. Well, there you go. I mean, the story's great, right? So do you have a Ferrari parked outside today? Or?
No, I think there's a Lambo out there, though.
There is something out there. I didn't know if it was yours. Well, really cool. So then moving forward, it must be very rewarding to work in the position of a fund with new startups and different companies. What do you look for when you're looking? I mean, I understand the business model, but is there something that you could maybe share that?
Very simple. And what's really interesting, actually, is I actually had an investor one time laugh at me for saying this. He said, "What do you look for in an early stage operator, an early stage entrepreneur?" And my answer was straight up, right off the cuff. I was like, very simple: resilience and perseverance. Mm-hmm. Resilience and perseverance. And the reason is because as an operator, entrepreneur, you're going to get kicked in the groin multiple times, and you have to be resilient to the fact that you're going to go through massive amounts of suffering with the light at the end of the tunnel seeming to get smaller and smaller sometimes. You're running out of runway. You have stress up the woozah. In many cases, to be an operator at any type of startup is just suffering. It's just pure suffering. And you know this, right? You built startups, so you understand this. So resilience, and number 2, no quit. It's perseverance, man. Like I always tell people, no one cares about your dream as much as you do. No one's ever going to socialize your dream for you. And not only that, they're not going to build it for you. So you have to be the one to take it all the way and to commit to that. So for me as an investor, as a venture capitalist, that's absolutely important. When I sit down with an operator or entrepreneur, it's like, if I cut you a check, are you going to quit on me?
Right.
And if I cut you a check, when the first time that you get kicked in the groin, are you going to give up? Like, if you're going to give up, I'm not going to cut you a check. So I need someone who's willing to go the long distance. A venture fund is a 10-year lifespan, as you well know. And so likewise, in many cases, it's going to take about 10 years for that startup to get to a real traction, real revenue, opportunity for buyout, liquidity, et cetera. So it's going to take 10 years to do anything well.
Pretty interesting insights from Peter here. And yeah, obviously, so resilience was one of the main thing that he said, resilience and endurance, I would say.
Yep.
So pretty interesting stuff. What are some of the projects that you're working with now that you're most excited about? Oh, I don't want to get you in trouble, but
I can't. There's some of them that I can't talk about, but I will tell you about two kind of general. One that we invested in last year, which is super exciting, is that you can log into this website and you can stake multiple tokens within 3 clicks of getting into that site.
Nice.
So we're talking about the lowest barrier to entry. So I'm really excited about this startup. It's going to be announced a little bit later this year. Another one that I'm we have a dog
There's
over
a
here
dog
that's
coming around.
taking a little bit. He's got a hamburger on him, which is so funny. Another one that we're really interested in is Frontier Tech, and they're working on, it's essentially death tech.
Okay.
We now live in this, we now live in a complicated world where you have 19 social media accounts. You got crypto in 50 different places. What happens if you kick the can? What happens if you die?
It's so true.
There needs to be systems, especially on the blockchain, so that your value can be given to your heirs through smart contracts.
Yes.
Without intervention of malfeasance or lawyers or all that stuff. And so one of our investments is really exciting because they're working in the death tech arena,
right?
Which is, even for me to say it, it's almost uncomfortable because not a lot of people say death tech. It's like it's new market.
You could rename it. I think we call it final expense in insurance.
Is that how it works? Death tech guys. So I'm really excited about that because I think that's something that's going to be absolutely necessary as we move forward with our complicated lives in crypto everywhere.
Interesting. Death tech. Yeah. So it is final expenses. I said it wasn't really.
We're all going to get there.
We are going to get there, but it is
death and taxes, man.
People, as they get older and they'll start to see, they know they're going to go, and they'll go ahead and plunk down the 10 or 20 or whatever it is to know that their loved ones aren't going to be burdened with that. But it's so important. I mean, even like, I'm sure you know Nick Spanos. Yeah. So Nick, you might even know the story. One of the kids he was working with, he passed away for whatever reasons were. But I mean, they had a lot of coins on his laptop, and they had no way to recover it ever, to this day. And so having that stuff is pretty important.
If he had a platform if he was assertive and there was a platform in existence, then he could go in there and say, here's my heirs, here's the smart contracts we're going to set up, they're going to digitally sign them so that when which this might sound, not many people think about death until it happens. But let's be honest, I actually have learned more about the death tech world. 99% of all deaths are unexpected. Think about this. 99% of all deaths are unexpected. So most people aren't planning for it.
Right.
And so when you do have a loved one, go meet their maker, the question is, what do we do with all the collateral?
Right.
What do we do with all these assets? Where are they?
Yeah.
I think blockchain can really be a solution for that.
Well, really cool. So then I know off camera we bantered a little bit about family. We're both family men. We have the kids around similar ages. Where do you see this tech for them? I mean, as they're going to college and everything else, what impact do you think that'll have?
Man, one of the reasons why I'm in the world of Web3 and Bitcoin is because the monetary policy and the monetary systems that we have today, as you well know, are substantially broken.
Yeah.
And I believe that you and I actually might live through a period of where we truly see the world's reserve currency move to a different currency. It could be the RMB, it could be yuan, I don't know. But according to history, we're literally at the cusp of that. We're like, I think 120 years in, and the previous reserve currency only lasted 80 years or something like this. I'm getting the numbers wrong, so you guys can spot check us online, right? All the trolls on Reddit be like, he's wrong. But the point is that the monetary system is going to change. And so I think being a participant in growing the Web3 ecosystem, growing projects, and hopefully creating better monetary policies and better monetary systems is something that I care a lot about, because my kids are going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I mean, we're leaving them with a lot of debt.
Leaving them with a lot of debt. Most people can't even comprehend it.
The numbers are so large, it's actually impossible to comprehend.
Right. So
I think that's actually by design.
I think sometimes people give these guys too much credit. Maybe it's by design, or maybe they're just spending like drunken sailors.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
will say that we travel a lot around the world, and the entire planet is trying to crash the dollar.
Yes.
They are, and guys,
actively doing this.
Actively trying to crash the dollar. And as strong as we are, guys, there's some really amazing people that are wanting to crash the dollar. And so I do think it's inevitable. And it's one of the reasons why even we see the spike that we had. I thought maybe we would kind of go sideways a little bit more this year, but I don't know, man. We may just kind of drift up until.
Well, I'm not going to be the person to throw fear porn at your audience here.
It's okay. I do it sometimes.
Okay. So I still feel that America has, and the dollar has a real chance of surviving past our lifetimes, which would be great.
Yeah.
But at the end of, because there's so much entrenchment everywhere. Everyone's dealing with dollars. And so I think it's easy for us to take a slice of that idea and say, yeah, we hear about this on the news and China's going to take over, Russia's going to take it. It's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say that we shouldn't be assertive and initiative around opportunities to improve the broken system today. Not that it's ever going to go away. I hope it doesn't go away because the dollar is strong and I'd like it to stay that way. Because I love America.
We're in dollars.
I love America and I love everything that America represents, for sure. But at the end of the day, we still have to be vigilant. We still have to create new policies, new frameworks, new regulatory frameworks, new legislation. We have to build new ideas. We have to build exchanges, on-ramps, off-ramps. Like, there's so much that we can do as operators. And someone like you who socializes this stuff, it's encouraging other people out there that, hey, you can make an impact. You can help change that world, hopefully for the better for your future and your kids.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Peter, what did you guys... I didn't chase him all day. We kind of circled around. I'm so glad I went to find you. I'm like, hold on, we got to talk to Peter. So I'm so happy I did. Kind of maybe a last question, but as far as we have Gary Gensler, who really seems to be after crypto. The administration, I feel like, again, even if the administration switches, the previous administration wasn't so friendly. I mean, how do you see it kind of rolling out, for us over the next year or two?
This might sound a little too political, but I think one of the greatest things that could ever happen in our lifetime is term limits.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Right?
If we just have term limits, we would have new blood with new progressive thinking, not like, radical progressive, but progressive thinking around leveraging technology for today's applications, where the boomer generation and we have people, I think the average age in Congress is like 70 years old or something like this.
It's old.
Again,
I'm in DC. I know.
Like
They're old, man.
You would know.
Yeah.
And these guys are, first off, they're not incentivized to learn the new technologies. And number two, they're actually entrenched so deeply in the old world that it's not only an incentivization issue, it's a lethargy. Why should I change? I'm 78 years old and I'm a lifetime politician. Like, the gravy is good. Why should I change? And so I think term limits would be a great idea. I think people who are assertive, initiative, we talked about this before, people like yourself who are constantly communicating this out to the masses, I think that is what's constantly and most importantly needed. Because if you're not talking about it, who's going to talk about it?
All right. Yeah. Well, Peter, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Do you have a social media website? How do people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, @AgilePeter.
@AgilePeter. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Appreciate it,
Really
brother.
appreciate it. See you soon.